The argument for morality suggests that there are these moral laws that are instinctual to who we are, such as we shouldn't kill each other, we shouldn't steal from each other. These laws are supposedly given to us by a moral lawgiver, such as God. Humans, being built in the image of God, have this moral knowledge, these moral laws written into who we are. So they're an innate part of our existence. Today, we're going to be putting that to the test. The biggest issue that I see with this argument is that we probably don't even have the best morals here on Earth. There are tons of organisms such as dolphins or elephants that exhibit extremely high mental functioning, exceptional abstract thinking skills, and they're not murdering and raping each other at a rate that we humans do. What's more alarming is that, in my opinion, I think that we can all agree, is that as humans, we have a little bit of a leg up on all these other organisms. We know that when we kill someone, it's messed up. So let me give an example. Elephants and monkeys are organisms that are very, very aware of death. Elephants have a whole funeral process when somebody in their pack or whatever in their herd dies. Monkeys, on the other hand, have been known to die of sadness when somebody close to them passes away. Both these organisms are obviously aware of death and that people around them can die. But for us as humans, we are aware of something a little bit deeper, and that's our own finite existence. We recognize that we could die, and that leads us to be a little bit more cautious, or you would think it would lead us to be more cautious when, people are going out and killing each other. It's permanent. You kill somebody and it's permanent. You can't get them back. And maybe the monkey does understand that. But as humans, it's more intimate because that can happen to ourselves, and we recognize that. You would think that having this different, threatening, more scary view of death, it would lead to a little bit better moral behavior, but I don't think that that's the case. First, let's calculate the murder rate of Homo sapiens and use this as a rough measurement of moral behavior. Obviously, this has its limits, but I'll touch on that later in the video. After adding up all the wars and all the murders in the past 2,600 years, humanity's total morality score comes back as 594,100,000 deaths. Across this time period, 17 billion people have existed, meaning that roughly 3.4% of all humans to have existed were killed immorally since 500 BC. I do want to mention this doesn't include suicide, which is oftentimes seen as something immoral, and doesn't include other indirect ways of killing people, such as going out when you're sick and somebody dies because you passed on some virus to them. Now, I'm willing to bet all the money that I have that I can find a high-functioning sentient organism that does not exhibit a higher murder rate than we do at 3.4%. Essentially, no data exists on elephant murders or dolphin murders, but so this is kind of speculation, but I really would bet money that you can find sentient, high-functioning organisms that behave better than humans. So as I hinted at before, there are some limitations of the results that I got. First off is that we're capable of higher functioning morality. First is we are capable of higher functioning moral behavior, such as donating to a charity or returning a lost wallet that you found. These things can't really be exhibited by other organisms. On the other hand, this kind of gets counteracted by the fact that I can do higher functioning immoral behavior, such as cheat on a final exam or lie to a police officer when he pulls me over and asks if I've been drinking. I'm making an assumption here, and I've probably given humans the benefit of the doubt that our higher functioning moral behavior cancels out our higher functioning immoral behavior. I'm also not factoring in other animals' deaths. I, being somebody who grew up in the United States, would look at killing a dog as something very, very deeply immoral. But in other cultures, they wouldn't see it that way. So there'd have to be some method of finding the distinction. Is it wrong to kill a cow? Are killings of any organism bad? Because then we're way far ahead in a completely different league. We kill so many organisms every day. Another possible objection is that we have free will, and because of that, our behavior and our choices mean a little bit more than an organism that's kind of running automatically. However, in my opinion, this has completely been debunked and has been shown in tons of different experiments going back to the 1950s. One that I want to quickly reference here is next of kin, to show that organisms really do have things going on in their mind other than just instinctual behavior. This book follows a chimpanzee named Washoe, and she is learning how to do American Sign Language. What's crazy is that oftentimes she's signing to herself, and it's her way of kind of thinking. When you and I think in our brain, we have that voice inside of her head. But when she's doing it, she's using her signs, and they will catch her because she doesn't really do it around people. They'll catch her with her dolls, talking to them. They'll catch her reading things and talking to herself. So it's clearly exhibiting some method of thinking. She clearly has some thoughts on her mind. She's not just automatically reacting to things. Another thing I want to mention is that we're not 100% sure that we as human beings even have free will. We might not have free will. Seems like science is still undetermined in this. I've looked at some of the experiments, and it seems to me across the board, all the conclusions of those experiments are still indeterminate of whether or not we have free will. So I wouldn't hang my hat on this argument that since we have free will, our moral decisions are worth more, because we're not even sure we have free will in the first place. I hope you can see that by the end of this video, humans aren't this amazing example of perfect moral behavior. I think there's a pretty solid argument to be made that our morals are actually worse than maybe not most other organisms, but at least some organisms here on Earth. And maybe you disagree, and that's fine. But I think that we can agree that if our morality was given to us, or at least written on our hearts by a divine perfect being, it would be at least a little bit more distinguishable from all the other organisms here on Earth. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate your time. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one.